Good evening and welcome back to Clix with Q. On tonight's program, we're going to be going over the leader of the Fantastic Four himself, Mr. Fantastic, otherwise known as Reed Richards. All right, welcome back, folks. We're just going to go right into it, shall we? First, we got the classic Mr. Fantastic from the Clobberin' Time set. I only had the experienced, so I know it's not a veteran, but don't judge me. Anyway, his stats are really not bothered. We really don't need to bother going over those. But the sculpt, I thought, is it's just one of my favorites. It's always been one of my favorite Mr. Fantastic sculpts. It's very dynamic. Very interesting. The face is the only kind of thing that stands out as being a little weird, but I'm sure with the right kind of paint job, you could make it look a little bit less weird. But anyway, yeah. As people keep saying in the comments too, these old sculpts, they really do hold up really, really well. It's actually kind of surprising sometimes. All right, next we've got the two versions of this Mr. Fantastic. From the Fantastic Forces set, we've got... we might as well just show Mr. Fantastic first, the veteran. So yeah, this is the Ultimate Mr. Fantastic. And for those of you who follow the Ultimate storyline, he actually, Sue dumps him after a certain period of time, and he becomes the Maker, who we'll go over later. But yeah, he becomes evil, an evil Reed Richards, which is actually, in my opinion, one of the coolest villains you could possibly make. And the fact that that really, like, you're reading that full story of the Ultimate Fantastic Four. You're reading them for quite a few issues, and he ends up turning into a bad guy. It's kind of sad, but it makes a lot of sense, and it's I don't know, I liked it a lot. Next we have the Reed Richards variant, the Super Ultra Unique, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember what they were called, these gold ring guys. I remember that silver rings were uniques. But anyway, we got Reed Richards. He's not very much different from the other one. So, yeah, there's that. Next, we have Mr. Fantastic from the Secret Invasion set. I love this sculpt. I'm a big fan of when they give Mr. Fantastic his crazy looking technology. And anyway, this one carrying the gun in the backpack is great. So yeah, he's got a pretty good paint job as well. Just the classic FF uniform. We'll see on the other one, the Reed Richards one, that it's a slightly different color, but it's that the kind of the dark blue. And anyway, the gun is just so sweet. He's, you could run him at, I'd say if you said he was 60 points, maybe 50. I don't know. Home play, 50, 60 points. That'd be a good point for him. Next we have the unique version, Reed Richards, who, is a little different. I don't know. I think this one's a little more useful if you ask me. The Ultimate Nullifier ability is very nice, and actually kind of reminds me one time. This is maybe 2-3 years ago. I was playing a game with my friend Kevin, and we were so it was Sauron from the Lord of the Rings, and a few other villains versus some of the heroes that we had, and I was playing the Fantastic Four in this version of Reed. And it was great because he used the Ultimate Nullifier to outwit everything on Sauron, and then Thing went up and did like 8 damage to him or something. He didn't get KO'd after that first hit, but he got rocked. But yeah, anyway, I like that Reed a lot, and again, the sculpt is great. All right, so next we have the Future Foundation Reed from, what set is that? I don't know what that's called. Now I feel stupid. Whatever. It's really a terrible read. His stats are really, really piss poor, to be honest with you. I know I don't have it up on the screen there, but he's got like 2 damage. He doesn't have anything more than 2 damage, and he goes down to 1 at the end, and no move and attack. It's just, he's totally useless. Even that outwit power ends up being on Clix that are of no use. So we're just going to move on. Next, we have the Mr. Fantastic from the Galactic Guardian set. This one's a fun one. He's even with the Legacy card, he's not really all that worth the 110 or the 130 points. That's the problem. If you said 110, okay, I'd pay 110 for him, especially with the Legacy card. But 130 is a lot to pay for what he offers, which is not a lot. Especially the stretch thing. Give him a double power action. I mean, come on. Come on. It's ridiculous. There's much better versions of Mr. Fantastic. So we really don't need to worry about this one all that much. So let's move on to the unique version of that. It's the Ultimate Nullifier read. This one's a little bit more useful from a damage perspective. Like, he's got Penetrating Blast on his first click with an 8 range and 3 damage, which is pretty nice. Eventually, he moves over to his special attack power, which is the Penetrating Blast as a double power action. But at least he modifies his attack +2 and his damage +1. I mean, it's pretty nice. So he's got regular Penetrating Blast with Perplex on those first 2 clicks, and then the nice Penetrating Blast, and then he gets Pulse Wave with Outwit. I mean, this one's a lot more useful than actually I'd ever thought he was until I really gave him a good look more recently. And then he's got that, the full activation of the Ultimate Nullifier thing, where it says, give Mr. Fantastic a power action and choose an opposing character within 8 squares in line of fire. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to that character for each 100 points, or fraction thereof, of its point value this game. After this action resolves, KO Mr. Fantastic. So, that's your last stand on your last click. If only that had said stop on it, that would make this Mr. Fantastic really, really good. But it doesn't. That's okay. You just hope you get hit onto it. All right. I think that's all the old ones, isn't it? Yes, sirree, Bob. So now we're moving on to just the best Mr. Fantastic ever. Here we have the Cosmic Clash starter set Mr. Fantastic. The sculpt is very nice. I'm a fan of the sculpt. I know some people don't like it, but I like any expressive Mr. Fantastic sculpt. I wish he was, I wish there were more like this, and less, standing around with stretchy arms, like in some of the recent sets. But this is a great sculpt. Anyway, he has improved movement through elevated and hindering, which is very nice. And then he's got a trait. I'm pretty good at multitasking. Plasticity, shape change. When Mr. Fantastic uses shape change, after resolutions, place that d6 with that result on this card, replacing any here. Giant Reach X, where X is 2 or the value of that die on this card, whichever is greater. And that ends up being super useful. Especially if, you get a 5 or 6, you get 5 or 6 close range. It's very nice. And, traded plasticity and shape change like a symbiote is also very, very nice. So, yeah. He's got his special defense power, which is his stop click. Stop, but only if another friendly character with the Fantastic Four keyword is on the map. Super senses. And then he's got a special damage power. You'll find Mr. Fantastic more than a match for you every time. Leadership, Outwit. Free. Choose an opposing character of higher points within 4 squares in line of fire, and a power, standard or special, they can use. The chosen character can't use that power until your next turn. So, This is kind of like a way to get around Power Cosmic or people who have protected Outwit in general. Because it's not technically Outwit. It's just technically saying you can't use this power. Or it could just be a double Outwit to somebody who is next to you and doesn't have that, the Power Cosmic. All right, so let's take a look at his dial here. Look at that. It's a beefy boy dial. Just remember that he's got Plasticity and Shape Change the entire dial. Just remember that. And then Super Senses. So he's going to be very difficult and annoying to hit. And he's also got sidestep, so he can be moving around for free. I think I erroneously colored his... Yeah, it looks like I made his... No, it wasn't. It couldn't have been me. I just took a picture. Looked yellow on there. That's Quake. It does look yellow, doesn't it? That's Quake. And then he's got Precision Strike for the other Clix there. That's Super Sweet Outwit for 4 Clix. And Perplex on one of them, which is just kind of a weird outlier. It's just right there, Perplex. And then Close Combat Expert, which is very nice, near the end of his dial. And at this point, if you're rolling your 5 or 6 on your Shape Change, and you can Close Combat Expert somebody 5 to 6 squares away, hey, that's nothing to scoff at. Goodness gracious, this Mr. Fantastic's amazing. And if you team him up with the Ben from this set, the Cosmic Clash, who's got Empower, then you're going to be taking his clicks of 2 damage to 3, and then his clicks of 3 to 4. So, yeah, this is like the primo Mr. Fantastic. I really couldn't ask for a better Mr. Fantastic dial. It's perfectly indicative of what he can do. You could say, oh, let's give him a full power 125 dial. Yeah, but this is perfect. This is, as far as I'm concerned, they really did Mr. Fantastic justice with this dial. So, yeah, this one gets a 9.3 altogether. And, it's also nice to have the John Byrne costume. Because John Byrne's run was great. It was better than Hickman's. Yep, I said that. All right, next we have the common from the Fantastic Four set. This one's the 40-point, like the OG Mr. Fantastic. It's a sculpt. It's there. It gets a 7. It's a passing grade. Looking at his dial here, because he doesn't really have. He's got that. Mr. Fantastic increases his attack total 1+ for each 4 in his finalized attack roll. I always, I got to be honest. I'm not paying attention to the die rolls like that. But some people are. And I guess it works for them. He's got a stop click. Super Senses stop, but only if there's another friendly character with the Fantastic Four keyword within 4 squares. So yeah, 40 points. Looking at his dial here, he's like a... I don't know. He's like a little overcosted leadership. Is what I would say. It's really not that useful. His stats aren't horrible, but they're not good. And for 40 points, I'm sure you could find something better to spend your 40 points on. But, it's in the beginning. So, who am I to complain? Next, we've got what is he? He's the uncommon Mr. Fantastic. And it says, for his trait there, he's got once per attack, you may force the attacker to reroll a 4 in an attack roll targeting Mr. Fantastic. Again, it's another one of those things where you got to be paying attention. So, yeah. I don't know why I gave the paint on this an 8. Hey, I did though, so it's too late to change it now. It's the same sculpt as before. The paint's the red costume. Not my favorite. Red doesn't look good on the Fantastic Four. It's weird. But anyway, he's got a movement power, Plasticity, Giant Reach 4. When Mr. Fantastic hits with a close attack and has not been moved or placed this turn, until your next turn, a hit character modifies attack -1 and considers Mr. Fantastic adjacent for the purpose of breaking away. Yeah, okay. I mean, 50 points, look, he would be worth his 50 points, I would say, if he had Indomitable, but looking at his dial, you see he does not. And it's kind of, a crapshoot whether or not you're going to be in a good position to use Close Combat Expert. The sweet click is number 3. That's the one you want. But, I don't know. It's hard to get in that position because you can't move an attack. It's just Plasticity and then Giant Reach 4. So yeah, if he'd had Indomitable, he'd be a little bit more of a contender. Next, we got the, I guess this is a rare Mr. Fantastic. This one's like, I don't know. Every time I've used him, he's been obliterated pretty quickly. But when you look at him on paper, he looks really good. He's got improved elevated. Again, okay, so we got the black costume here. It's, yeah, it's okay. I wish the black costume had been on, I wish this costume that they've got on this one had been on the Mr. Fantastics that came out in the Future Foundation set. Because I think that sculpt's a little more interesting than this one. And I would have liked to see, the black and blue on him. But anyway, he's got some traits there. The most important being to Strand the Griever. Opposing characters within 4 squares in line of fire can't begin moving except during move actions. So that's pretty cool. That's cool. So, they can't really... I guess the whole point of that is they won't be able to charge him. I think. Can't begin moving except during move actions. Well, I'll have to look back at the rules for charge. Anyway, he does give adjacent... Excuse me. He gives friendly characters with the Fantastic Four keyword within 4 squares leadership, which is super nice. All of these rare versions of the Fantastic Four do something like that, which is it's really cool. And then he has his special damage power is Outwit with a range of 10, and he has Protected Outwit. So looking at his dial here, he starts with that Outwit and the Quake. No. Let's see. No. Yeah, he's got no Giant Reach. So you've got to move him up again. See, this is the problem with all these Mr. Fantastics. You can see he's got Plasticity, but no move and attack. There's nothing he can do to move and attack. All these Mr. Fantastics don't have any Indomitable and don't have any move and attack. So to get him into position to be useful, he's going to be taking a hit before he even does anything. Which sometimes is okay if you land him on his, his Close Combat Expert dial or Clix, but I don't know. I don't like anybody that you can't move and attack with. I try to avoid those types of characters. Next we have the Deep Cuts Mr. Fantastic. Back to that sculpt that they used with Cosmic Clash. It's a good one. He's got a special trait here, Torso Trampoline. When a character's knockback path ends adjacent to Mr. Fantastic, after resolutions knock that character back a number of squares equal to the number of squares they were actually knocked back in any direction of your choosing. So, yeah, this is supposed to work in tandem with the other Fantastic Four from the Deep Cuts. And I think it works best with Sue, because she can kind of choose that knockback path. But, yeah. Ben can too, but it's like really it's one of those things dependent on rolls. This is our last chance. Stop. Super senses. So just a regular old stop click. Love it. This Mr. Fantastic, I would say, terrible idea to run him at 75. He's got the same problem that all the Mr. Fantastics do, where they cannot move and attack. And this one, doesn't have shape change or plasticity traded. So he's just there to get hit is really all that this one's there for. Oh, he does have shape change on his dial, I guess, but whatever. And then Outwit. He's so useless, except at his 20-point dial. Because his 20-point line is, he's got that stop click, which is an 11 attack, 3 damage outwit. And even before that, he's looking at shape change and super senses with an 18 defense. So he's sitting there, essentially taking fire and being difficult to hit. And then even if you do hit him, he's got another time. You got to hit him again for 20 points. Or he's going to get you with his outwit and his 11 attack and 3 damage. See, yeah. Big fan of that 20-point line. Let's move on to the Future Foundation Fast Forces. Fast Forces Future Foundation. I think it's Fast Forces Fantastic Four Future Foundation. I wonder if I faithfully... okay, well, whatever. The paint job is okay. Looks a little, computerized on to me, a little printed on. Bit sloppy. Why he has red hair, I don't know. Like, what's the deal with the red hair? I guess it's kind of brown. It's kind of like the Cosmic Clash one. I don't know. The hair is a little light. And then Johnny had red hair too. You all saw Johnny's red hair. Okay, so it says, prevent you from hurting anyone else. When an opposing character would move adjacent to Mr. Fantastic, roll a d6. 4. Choose one. That character immediately ends their action, or after resolutions, deal that character 1 penetrating damage. If it works, it works. Hey, never had it work for me, but, doesn't matter. He's got improved movement, elevated, nice. He's got another trait there, arm lasso, plasticity, and giant reach 3. That's pretty nice. Looking at his dial here, 50 points. I guess you could, I guess he's certainly better than the uncommon from the Fantastic Four set in the red suit. He's certainly better than that one. I'll say that much. Way more worth that 50 points. His stats are much better. I don't like Mr. Fantastic having barrier, unless it's like a special where he like takes damage if you hurt him with it. But All right, moving on, we have the one from the set. This one sucks. He's got traded leadership, and friendly sidekicks can use leadership. And his dial is boring and useless. Again, he can't move and attack. But don't worry, his dial is long, so that means you're probably interested in it. And 60-40 points. Is the 40-point line better than the common Fantastic Force, the Fantastic Four set one? Maybe. The 2 shots and 4 range with the incapacitate is not bad. And the 18 defense, while it is naked, it is an 18. And that's, sometimes that's the difference between victory and defeat. So yeah. Moving on to the unique versions. Here we have, one of my favorite figures in the whole set. I was just so happy that they made one of these and put it in a set. You have no idea. This is the Maker. Remember how I told you earlier, Mr. Fantastic in the Ultimate Universe changes into this guy. Or rather is this guy. I guess his face is to be hidden because it's ugly. Remind you of anybody? Anyway, he's got he's got a couple traits. First one is Ultimate Elastic Body. Actually, let's say first he's got improved movement hindering and improved targeting hindering. Gave the sculpt an 8. Paint job's a 7. I don't know why I gave it a 7. Kind of should be an 8. I mean, there's really not much to do with this costume. It's a very simple costume. And then obviously I love the dial here. You'll see. He's got Ultimate Elastic Body, Plasticity, Super Senses, Giant Reach 4. When Maker attacks, characters he targets modify defense -1 for each team ability they can use. This is really nice, especially against people from the Empire set. They have a lot of team abilities. He's got another trait. I've been making some new tools. Outwit, Perplex. When Maker hits, after resolutions generate a token that is a copy of an equipment object that's equipped to a hit opposing character. That object has max 1 for each object name, and isn't scored. So yeah, if you're playing against people with objects, this will be very useful to you. You can just instantly, it's so great. You can just instantly copy somebody's and then have it. And then he's got a special damage power, splitting myself apart. Shape change, power, generate a Maker 2 bystander, max 1. Now looking over at his dial here, we've got the Maker 2, the little guy here. Look at him. Hi. It says imperfect clone. Maker may use his outwit, perplex, and probability control as if he occupied this square. So yeah, looking at his dial here, remember that he's got outwit and perplex the whole time, giant reach 4, plasticity, and super senses. He's got that his whole dial, and also the things you see right there for 100 points. At the end there, he's got flurry on those last 3 clicks. He doesn't have any move and attack, but he does have indomitable, and he does have the makers. That's really the most important thing. What you do is then you just pop out a maker in the beginning of your turn, and then he's your move and attack. And, or you could just keep him adjacent to you and use those as free hits for your mastermind. Honestly, this one is a must on a Reed Richards themed team. One day I'll come out with my Reed Richards themed team. But anyway, yeah. This is one of my favorites. So yeah, the Maker. Next we have another chase. This one is the Reed Richards Fixer of Universes from the Fantastic Four set. This one's pretty crazy. He's a title character, but he's probably the most useful title character that I've ever seen in my life. Before we move any further, let's look at Molecule Man just so we can keep him in mind. He can sidestep, but he can't move really much at all. 12 range, precision strike, 12 attack, probability control, 1 damage, 18 defense. At the end of your turn, if Molecule Man is outside a starting area, KO him. Okay. And then here we've got Mr. Fantastic's dial, which is 7 clicks long, and you can see his defense kind of dips to a 17 after those first few clicks, but then goes up to a 20 at the end with super senses. Starts with perplex, ends with probability control, and his attack increases as well. So you might be thinking, what is the point of this Mr. Fantastic? Well, this is like support Mr. Fantastic on steroids. Looking at his title character abilities here, he's got no more superheroics for a while, just science. Free, outwit, perplex until your next turn. At the end of your turn, heal Reed Richards, Fixer of Universes, 1 click if he targeted 1+ opposing characters with outwit or perplex this turn. So as long as you use the outwit or the perplex, then you can heal a click, against an opposing character. You can heal a click at the end of your turn. You don't even need to make the obligatory attack, because what you'll do is you'll just not attack them, but still outwit or perplex them. You'll take the damage from your plot abilities for not attacking, and then you'll heal for having used outwit. So you can just sit there and be accruing these points. Now you don't have to accrue very many points for what I call the ult, that third ability. But let's look at it, shall we? Let's keep going here. Uncovering the real source of Doom's power. Free. If Reed Richards' Fixer of Universes occupies an opponent's starting area, generate a Molecule Man bystander. And this doesn't take anything. It takes 0. You can just do it. If your opponent knows what this strategy is, they'll instantly go after you. But if they don't know what your strategy is, this is a real sucker punch. Because next is convincing Owen to unwrite Victor's twisted reality. Free. If Reed Richards' Fixer of Universes is adjacent to Molecule Man, roll a d6. Deal that much unavoidable damage to the lowest point character on an opponent's force. You choose if there's a tie. Unavoidable. You just deal. You roll that d6, and that's how much damage you deal. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So then your opponent once realizing that they cannot allow this to go on for very long, will try to attack Mr. Fantastic, and his defense gets better and he gets prop as he goes along there. All in all, I would say point for point, this is probably the best Mr. Fantastic in the game, because he always has outwit. He's got perplex the whole time, and then he can have outwit and perplex, by just using his plot ability. And so yeah, you could either play him as a tough to kill support piece where he's just constantly outwitting and perplexing, or you could, because he moves pretty fast, have him run all the way to the opponent's starting area and deal some sucker punch damage. Either way, totally worth his points. A really, no pun intended, fantastic piece. All right, last but certainly not least, in fact, quite the opposite, we have Reed Richards Alpha. This is like evil Reed Richards from the Council of Reeds. I mean, it depends on what your opinion of them is, but my opinion is that the Reeds who are asking the one Reed to give up his family are the evil Reeds. You might have a different opinion on that, but that's we could talk about that. Anyway, this bad guy Reed, look at the paint job. It's fantastic. It's so good. You can see even his little insignia on his chest is so good. The line coming up, it's a little off center, but it's, and the color scheme, it's just a really sexy costume, let's be honest. Okay, let's read his traits here. Interdimensional Council of Reeds. Leadership. When Reed Richards Alpha uses it, give Reed Richards Alpha a number of bridge tokens equal to half the result of his roll. So, if you're succeeding, you're getting 3 tokens. Free. Remove 6 bridge tokens to generate a Reed Council member bystander. It doesn't say max something or other. Let's keep reading. I don't think it specifies that there is no max number of Reed Council member bystanders. A multiverse's worth of Reed's inventions. When Reed Richards Alpha generates a Reed Council member bystander, choose a standard attack or damage power and note it. Reed Richards Alpha and Reed Council member bystanders can use all powers noted in this way. So you're just, stacking up powers the more you generate these guys. Oh my gosh. And then he's got Fall of the Council. When a Reed Council member bystander is KO'd, deal Reed Richards Alpha 1 unavoidable damage, and an opponent chooses a noted power. The chosen power is no longer noted. That power may not be used in this way until noted again. Protected Pulse Wave. Huh. Oh, I see, because it's really it's not in your best interest that it says Protected Pulse Wave there, is it? Because if it didn't say Protected Pulse Wave, you could kill a Reed Council member bystander and you wouldn't take the unavoidable damage or have the noted power removed. But since it is Protected Pulse Wave, that does happen. Damn. Well, anyway. Looking at the back of his card /dial here, you can see the Reed Council member bystander. They're really not the greatest. I mean, first of all, he has autonomous and indomitable, so he's not bad in the slightest. And if you give him some kind of damage or attack power that will make him useful, like say, start with Penetrating Blast, I would say, or Exploit Weakness, and go from there. Outwit also, because then everybody could use Outwit or Perplex or whatever. It doesn't matter. Because the more of these guys you have, the better you're in a position to be. This Richards Alpha starts with Phasing Teleport and Telekinesis with a 19 defense and Super Senses and Outwit. I find this click to be super useful in moving other Reeds around, and I mean like other Reed Richardses. Like a team of Richards. I don't know. When he starts taking damage, he starts becoming a little more aggressive. And near the end there, he's got shape change with an 11 and a 12 attack on his last 2 clicks there with 4 damage, which is nothing to scoff at. He also has the Power Cosmic team ability, which in modern rules grants you willpower, which gives you a chance to roll a 5 or 6 every turn, if I'm not mistaken, to take an action token off yourself. While I like that rule of willpower being applied to people, I don't like that Silver Surfer can roll every turn to have an action token taken off of him. I don't like it, okay? I'll tell you guys this much. The Silver Surfer, I only continue to play HeroClix so I can find a way to destroy the Surfer in whatever way I possibly can. That's it. That's all I care about anymore, is destroying the Silver Surfer. Is Reed Richards Alpha going to take me there? Is he going to help me do that? Probably not. But he's a really great HeroClix. I gave him a 9.8. I wonder what you guys would give him. Let me know. If you listened to this video all the way through and you heard me say that, just put the number down. Whatever you think, whatever you would give this read. You don't even need to say. You just put the number down. I'll know what you're talking about. All right. Well, thanks for dealing with me tonight, guys. I kind of feel a little weird, stomach issues. So if I've been a little off kilter, I apologize for that, and I appreciate your patience. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back next week with my second favorite Fantastic Four, and the last in our Fantastic Four series, the Invisible Woman, Sue Richards. Thank you all. Have a good night. God bless.